Imagine this. You wake up, point your telescope at Saturn, and its rings are gone. Vanished. Not a speck of ice or dust left. The planet sits naked in the cosmos, a silent giant stripped of its crown. What caused this? A cosmic catastrophe? An alien force? Or something hidden in the laws of the universe? In the next few minutes, we dive into the chaos, the science, and the consequences. Buckle up. This is going to be wild. Imagine the date is today, 2025-10-17. You are an amateur astronomer filled with quiet anticipation. You point your new telescope toward the southeastern sky, searching for a familiar friend. You find it. Saturn. But something is terribly wrong. The planet is there, a pale yellow orb hanging in the blackness. But its glorious rings, the very feature that defines it, are gone. There is no shimmering icy halo, no majestic razor-thin disk. There is only the planet, stark and solitary. Saturn sits alone in the void, a giant stripped of its crown. You check your lens, you restart your equipment, but the image remains the same. The rings have vanished. A profound silence seems to emanate from the eyepiece. The absence is more powerful than any presence. A cosmic shiver, something fundamental has shifted in our solar system. The universe, which feels eternal, can change in an instant. What could make such a monumental structure disappear overnight? This is not just an observation, it feels like a cosmic crime scene. 9 minutes of light time away, a wonder erased. We witness the ghost of its absence. This journey moves from shock to the steady ground of science. We will explore what Saturn's rings are, what holds them in balance, and what their loss means. The investigation begins now. To understand what we lost, we must understand what the rings were. They were not solid, spinning platters as early astronomers imagined. Instead, a vast, complex system made of countless particles, mostly water ice, with rock and dust. Sizes ranged from microscopic specks to car-sized chunks, and even moonlets. Billions of pieces orbited Saturn independently, like a miniature solar system. A sheet spanning a continent, yet thinner than a building, fragile and gossamer. Gaps and divisions, like the 4,800-kilometer Cassini division, sculpted, not empty. Shepherd moons use gravity to herd particles and keep edges sharp. Resonances from larger moons cleared lanes over millions of years. Water ice reflected sunlight, turning Saturn into a brilliant jewel. Losing the rings means losing that reflected light. Saturn would grow dimmer. What kept the rings from collapsing or dispersing? A delicate balance of gravity and motion. Inner particles whip around at up to 23 kilometers per second. Forward momentum countered Saturn's pull, locking each particle in orbit. The ring's mass, around 1.5 times 10 to the 19th kilograms, was not negligible. Roughly half the mass of Mimas, about 1/5000th of our moon. Combine it all, and you'd form a sphere of ice about 500 kilometers across. Spread thin, the mass still tugged on inner moons like Mimas and Enceladus. Remove a critical gear from a clock and the balance falters. If the rings vanished in an instant, forces balanced for eons would be thrown into disarray. If the rings were to vanish in minutes, the shock would hit the innermost moons first. Their orbital boundaries would disappear, constraints gone. Nearly circular paths could become elliptical or tilted. Wobbles and drifts would propagate through the inner system. Some small moons could be nudged inward toward disintegration. Others might be pushed outward, risking orbital crossings and impacts. Shepherds without a flock, their long-term stability uncertain. We would witness a planetary system deconstructed in real time. For Saturn itself, the direct effect is minimal, its mass and orbit unchanged. But ring rain would cease, altering upper atmosphere chemistry and the ionosphere. If the rings weren't erased but scattered, where did the material go? Some portion would plunge into the planet, a planet-wide meteor storm. Trillions of tons of ice and rock would burn, heating the upper atmosphere. Storms might girdle the planet, brighter than anything we've seen. Water vapor would alter stratospheric chemistry. Bright flashes and unprecedented auroras would ripple for days or weeks. Another portion would be ejected outward, forming a debris stream. Titan, Rhea, and others could be bombarded for years. Some fragments might reach the outer giants, others fall inward toward the sun. A house-sized piece hitting Earth is extremely unlikely, space is vast. But fine dust could drift inward, subtly brightening the zodiacal light. Earth's observatories would pivot instantly to Saturn. Hubble and James Webb would stare, collecting data across the spectrum. Primary goal: understand what happened and document the aftermath. It becomes the most important astronomical event of our lifetime. To the public, Saturn grows notably dimmer, more like a yellowish star. For backyard observers, the view is heartbreaking. Missions are re-tasked to study altered moon orbits, chemistry, or chase debris. Beyond science, the cultural impact is immense. Beauty, order, wonder, reframed. People worldwide look up and ask, what else could change? What could possess the power and precision to erase the rings overnight? A cataclysmic impact would demand a swarm of massive bodies, or one extraordinary intruder. The required energy is immense and statistically extreme. An exotic outburst from Saturn's depths, some unknown magnetic event, could, in theory, blast the rings. Like dust from a tabletop, yet we have no evidence for such a mechanism. A primordial black hole could scramble orbits while passing through the ring plane. A larger rogue flyby would disturb the entire solar system, impossible to miss. Or, the most unsettling, intelligent design, rings harvested by advanced technology. A science fiction tier idea, considered only if all natural explanations fail. Saturn sits alone, bare, vulnerable, a lonely giant. The solar system is not a static museum. It is living, breathing, sometimes violent. No known natural process can erase the rings overnight. Such a vanishing would be a black swan. It would signal physics we don't yet grasp.